Okay, so I'm assuming you got into your course, Jake, so you've got into PVM Year 11, and you're pretty much seeing what we're seeing here?
Yes.
That's correct? Okay, so the first thing you'll come into is announcements, and you can see there's an announcement up already which has a timetable. You've probably worked out from that timetable that there's more than one PVM class up here at CSDE. Yours is PVM 111A for this semester. It'll be 112A next semester, so the code's slightly changed, but if you're wondering, that's basically you. I tend to put my name on things like the Collaborate lessons, so just look for my name. It's probably the easiest way, so you don't go into the wrong lesson. You can't really, you may be able to go into other people's lessons, but you shouldn't go into other people's lessons. It'll depend how the teachers set up the lessons. If for some reason, I'm sick for 3 weeks or something, we might, say, oh, look, you can join somebody else's lessons if you like. Something like that will happen. If you need to do that, all those lesson times and everything are up there for you. Any questions on that one?
No, I'm good.
No good? Okay, well, let's have a look. We'll look at the menu on the left-hand side. You can see it's, you wouldn't, well, Year 11, so you probably haven't seen the PVM one, but we changed it a bit from last year. So I'll just go down. I'll come back to course, which is up the top, which is what your main things you'll be getting in. We'll go down to information. So announcements are just what you're looking at the moment. There is an introduction booklet, and I'll just click on that. And it is just a PDF. It does, some of it will be accurate and some of it will not be. This course has been around for about 10 years, and this is actually the last year it's running. So we've changed a few things in menu structures, so you can have a quick flick through it. Just don't commit everything to memory because some of the menu structures are a little bit different. The content of the course, however, is pretty much the same. Personally, I don't think you need to look at that. You've been here a few years, you'll probably get through it without too much trouble. Now, work rate calendars have changed a bit this year. Because they changed, and they changed very late in the year, so I've only got first term up at the moment. And so you can see term 1, 2018, I'm just going to go into that. And because you've been here before, Jake, you will have noticed that that looks a bit different to the usual work calendars or work rate calendars that you've seen. But you've probably seen this new format anyway, because you've probably been emailed one, I suppose, this week or last week.
Yeah.
So let me explain what this one is. So you've got a term's worth of work, which in this term is 10 weeks. Week 1 was actually last week, so we're actually in week 2 this week. So we've got to crush in a little bit of stuff in the next couple of weeks, but we'll be able to do that quite easily. All right, if you go along, you can see the units under units, that there are certain units you do in certain weeks. So in topic 1A, our health, we're doing in the first 3 weeks. 1B is our health as well, and we do that for 2 weeks. Then there is field, which won't have classes that week. Then we have topic 2A, sport and recreation. And down the bottom we start topic 2B, sport and recreation. It's only the last week, and that will go into next term. Okay?
Yep.
Now, what work do you have to get done? There are 2 types of work that you have to get done in PVM. There are booklets called work to be sent. Okay? So if you see that around, they're your booklets, okay? And each term there is a task, and sometimes we refer to them as assignments, okay? So I'll go over to the column where it says work to be returned. You can see that the 1A, our health, and the WTBS is work to be sent, is due at the end of week 3, which is actually next week. 1B is due at the end of week 5. And down the bottom, another work to be sent, 2A, is due at the end of week 9. Okay, so they're your 3 booklets that are due this term. Task 1 budget is an assignment, okay, and that is due at the end of week 8.
Yeah.
Oh, good? Understand that one? Okay, the 4 columns in the middle, we used to just have a lesson and a tutorial, but now they want us to give you some slots for independent learning. Now, they will really very much depend on how quickly you are able to work through the content, Jake. So for this one, there's still, if you look at the middle 2 columns, you've still got your lesson and your tutorial. Okay, and we'll cover the content in the lesson, and the tutorial will be about working through the exercises in the work to be sent. There is also a block for independent learning. So it tells you what you can read before you actually get into the lesson. Okay, so you can go through and see what that is. And an independent learning block at the end where you should be working on your booklet and getting those tasks done. And it's sort of stipulating what you should sort of be getting done in those times. Okay. Now, PVM's a little bit tricky, and I'll show you a little bit further down the track, because there's actually a workbook inside the course which is very similar to the work to be sent, but the only thing that we mark you on is the work to be sent booklet. Okay, now I'll show you where both of those booklets are. So when it refers to workbook, so see in that Learning Block 3 column where it's got workbook in brackets, that refers to the workbook inside the course. Okay, where it has WTBS, that's the one you've got to hand in. So that's the one you should be working on. Okay?
Yep.
Yep, good. Okay, that'll make a little bit more sense when I get into it. Okay? Yeah, nothing much in there. Generally, when you see something as work to return in a particular week, I have till Friday, late on Friday, for you to get that in. Obviously, if you can't get it in on time, let me know. Tell me the reason why, and I can give you an extension to get those in. Okay, so that's a work rate calendar. Any questions there, Jay?
No, I'm good.
You're good there? Beautiful. Let's close that down then. Okay. I'll have a look at skill links a little bit later, because that sort of links in with some other stuff we're doing. So let's have a look at the course. First part is Collaborate Lessons. Now, this might look a little confusing for the moment because one of the teachers has popped up a whole bunch of lessons they probably shouldn't have. But what you look for is my name in that. So, and it's not showing on the front page for some reason because a teacher's made a whole bunch of lessons that I'll get her to delete at some point. But you obviously got in there, Jake, so just look for my name, press the purple button and follow the directions. So if you have any problems with that, I'm not talking to you, Jake, to anyone else, just see your teacher. That's Lessons, Collaborate Lessons. Now, the three buttons underneath Collaborate Lessons are your important ones. The first one, Course Materials, is the course itself. Okay, now that pops up in a new tab for you, and you can see that you have Semester 1, Semester 2, Semester 3, and Semester 4. That is Year 11 and 12 together. Okay, so this year you'll only be doing Semester 1 and Semester 2. Okay, you can see the topics coming down the left-hand side on the first one. Our Health, you've got Unit A, you've got Unit B. Topic 2, Sport and Recreation, you've got Unit A, Unit B. Topic 3, Earning Money, Unit A and Unit B. Okay, if you remember back to our work rate calendar, we had 3 work to be sent that had to be done. Okay, they'll relate to Topic 1, Unit A and B, and Topic 2, Unit A. Okay. So they relate to your work to be sent, and your task assignment is sort of different. It sort of is assignment based on the things that you've been covering in the term, but there's no direct teaching involved in the assignment. It's just given to you as an assessment. You've just got to work your way through it. Okay, so when you go into these units, and I'll go into the first one. Okay, they bring up your unit. There's a menu down the right side, and you get to see plus signs beside things, which means there's pages with stuff in there. So this one starting on fractions, use of fractions, converting fractions. Easiest way to go through it is with the next button. So if you have to go into this yourself and go through the course, you can go through that. As you're going through, and I'll just press the next button down the bottom, sometimes you'll come across, I'll try and find one. I'll keep pressing the next button. Here's one. So you'll get this little symbol here with a, looks like a person pointing at a whiteboard or something, that little grey symbol. Can you see that one, Jack?
Yep.
Yep, and there's a link there, and when you press on the link, it brings up just a little a tool to help you understand it, and this one's converting decimal fractions to common fractions. So it's a little tool to help you do that. Okay, and I'm just going to show you that that's linked into our Blackboard, or I put those links into the Blackboard course as well. I'd advise you to use those because they're really handy way of practicing if you're not sure how to do something. So, and I'll show you a quick way getting to find those if you just need to find them. But that's basically your course. Now, I'll just go back to introduction, back to the start. Right at the start, each time you go in here, you'll see a link to Topic Unit A workbook. Remember I said there were workbooks and there were work to be sent? Remember from the thing? The workbook is something for you to work through to practice the things you learn in here. Okay, it doesn't get sent into your teacher. The work to be sent is the thing that needs to be sent in. Okay, if you feel like you're fairly good with fractions and decimals and things, you might not want to do the workbook and you can just do the work to be sent. A lot of kids do that. Okay, so it depends on whether you need the practice. So when you go through the course, it'll say, okay, now do question 1 out of the workbook. It's referring to the workbook inside the course here. Okay, it is just a practice workbook for you to consolidate the things you learn through the course. Does that make sense, Jake?
Yes.
But it's not the assessment you hand in. Okay?
Yep.
So,
It's personal.
yeah, it's just personal, and it closely reflects the work to be sent, so the questions are very similar, but they're not the same. The problem is, if you go and do this workbook and do all the questions in it, which will take you a fair bit of time, and you send that in to me, I'm going to say, that's really nice, Jake, but that's not your assessment. Okay, it has to be the work to be sent, and that has happened in the past. So I want people to be really clear. This workbook you don't hand in, but what I'm going to show you in a sec, you do hand in. Okay, let's go back. Have a look at the course. So that was in course materials. Now, next one down, lo and behold, work to be sent. Okay, so let's go into there, and you can see, all right, in term 1, there are my work to be sent. So there's a 1A work to be sent, a 1B, and a 2A. Okay, so the course we just looked at, there's the 1A work to be sent booklet. I'll just click on that. You can download it if you like, but basically you'll go through and you'll see there's questions that you have to answer. Okay, so there's question 1, write a common fraction, 8/25 as a decimal fraction. Okay, and you can see that there's 9, 10, and this first one I think it's 17, no, 12 questions. That work to be sent. It was 17 somewhere I saw. Anyway, so that is where you do it. Now, you don't do it in this document, Jake, okay? So the way we would expect you to do it is to get just some fool's cap paper, okay? And just do your working out. Definitely show your working out, okay? And your answers obviously in there, okay? What you need to do is lay it out so you leave space for us to comment, okay? So don't cram everything into and try and fit it all into one page, okay? Leave yourself some spaces for us to put marks or things in, okay? Show your working out, show your understanding, and if it's something that requires you to write a sentence or two, write a sentence or two because that demonstrates your understanding of the question, okay? Now, when you are marked on 3 things. Your knowledge and understanding is one of them, and that comes from you explaining your answer, okay? So if you're just going to pop in sometimes some, questions just require, a response like that first one. Write the common fraction, 8/25 as a decimal fraction. Well, that doesn't require a big sentence or anything. But other ones, as you get further down, which are problem-based ones, will require you to answer in a sentence. Okay, so you just think about it and look at it and go, okay, all right, I've got to pick which ones require a sentence and others that just require an answer. But I can help you out with that if you're in the lessons. Okay, so there you go. Work to be sent, there's the first one. You would download that, you would get your book, your lined paper, you put, put your heading up the top, put your name, obviously, put question 1. You don't need to write the questions out. You can just go straight into the answers. And you send those in to me at the end of week 3. There's your first one that you've got to get done. Okay, you can see there's term 1, term 2, term 3, term 4. So they're the work to be sent. Okay. The other bit of assessment you have to do are what we've got linked as the assignments on the left-hand side. So you do one of them a term. So I'll just go into those. And you can see there's task 1, task 2, task 3, and task 4. Okay. Some of them have some extra sheets, which are just help sheets basically to go with it, but the actual assignment sheet is linked at the top. So you can see task 1 assignment sheet, so that one doesn't have any extra sheets with it. In task 2, you can see there's some additional sheets that go with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's not being done just yet. You can check on your work rate calendar when you should start that, but I think that it's meant to be handed in week 8, I think, so it probably kicks off around week 5 or something like that. So those are the 2 things, so your work to be sent and your assignment. And your assignment done in a similar way to the work to be sent. Okay, just put it in a sheet of paper. It depends what it is. Sometimes they're a template, so you'll use a template that's actually in there. Sometimes you might just do it on a sheet of paper, but it just depends, so just ask your teacher on those ones. Okay, any questions so far, Jake? I've been talking a fair bit.
Oh, no, I'm all good, actually.
You're all good? So you know where your work rate calendar is. You know that you've got to hand in work to be sent and assignments. Work to be sent are about every 3 weeks, roughly. Sometimes it might be 2, but about every 3 weeks. Assignment is 1 a term. You hand those in. The course materials are there to help you, and we go through that. And what I do with the lessons is we don't actually probably won't go into the course. I've just done them as PowerPoint slides, and we just work our way through those and just sort of do the problems. So what I suggest to students, if you come into a lesson, is have your pad and everything ready to do your actual work to be sent questions in the lesson, because I'll give you time to do those in the lesson and the tutorial. Okay, so what you need equipment-wise when you get into your lessons is most times you will definitely need a calculator, a scientific calculator, and that should have been on your book list. Have you got one of those?
Yes, I have multiple.
Yeah, good. So scientific calculator, you'll need pencils, obviously ruler, rubber, foolscap paper, something similar that you can spread your writing out on, everything. And you need to be able to get it into me. So have you got a scanner or something there?
Yes.
You have, or you're on fire. If you don't have a scanner, and I'm talking not to you, Jake, obviously to other people, students have just used their mobile phone and just taken a photo. Just make sure you only do one page at a time for one photo. Usually that's big enough, and I can just stick it into a PDF and I can mark it on that. So I usually have half dance students who are sometimes overseas, so that's a lot easier for them to do it that way. They don't have access to a scanner. But Jake, you're okay, so you should be right. Okay, the last thing I was going to say is right down the bottom on the menu on the left, it's a skill links, and if you click in that, these are all the links. Do you remember that little converting fractions to decimals thing I showed you?
Yes.
These are the direct links for any of those. So if you're stuck on something, you can't remember how to convert a percentage to a common fraction, you can come in here, and if you click on those, you should get a little one open up, and it'll show you how to do it.
Oh, sweet.
Okay,
That's
cool.
so good. That's so handy.
Very handy. So always have a quick look in there. I only put those up this year, and I thought, oh, that'll be handy actually. So lots of things in there, lots and lots of little tools as you're going through. So if you're stuck on something and you don't want to try and find out where it is in the course, you know it's in, let's say, Unit A, just go a quick flick through and go, oh yeah, that's the one, equivalent fractions, that's the one I need to look at. So make life easy for you. That's about it. The last thing I'll probably talk about is, and this is just general for all subjects at CSDE, is you are marked on the assessment that you hand in, or your attendance forms your, or is made by your assessment. So you've got to get things in, and every 3 weeks we will check to see that you've handed something in. If you haven't handed something in, you go onto a list and you may get a call up from your contact teacher saying what's going on, you haven't handed anything in. So that happens about every 3 weeks. So if for some reason you're not going to get something in a 3-week period, make sure you're talking to your teacher so they know that, and they probably give you a little bit of time to get it in and won't put you on the list. In first term, we don't do it in week 3 because it's a bit of a slow start. It's hard. People are still joining in week 2 and week 3. So, but week 6 there is one. So I'm sure you'll get something done before then, Jack. Okay. All right. Well, that's the end of that. I'm just going to stop that recording.